We are now less than a month away from arguably gaming's biggest event of the year, E3 2019. This year the event takes place Tuesday, June 11th to Thursday, June 13th, but obviously the big showcases and conferences from publishers like Bethesda, Microsoft, and Ubisoft will take place a few days before then. Today we're going to be going over a lot of the big game reveals that you should expect. This includes some that have been confirmed and others that are right now just rumored. Obviously I will sprinkle in some of my speculation based on some games that have been announced or teased earlier in the year that I do think could pop up. Now, I will emphasize this year's event definitely feels a little different, and that's largely because Sony has decided to not hold a conference this year, something that has actually never happened before. Since the E3 event began in 1995, Sony has always attended, which is why it feels so strange, but it also could be a sign of the future. I do wonder if Sony is taking an approach similar to Nintendo, who has not had an E3 conference since I believe 2012, instead choosing to go with their own direct events, which typically happen throughout the year. Microsoft and Sony have both recently established their own spin or version of Nintendo Direct, which is why I do suspect, even though Sony is not attending E3 2019, we could possibly see a Sony State of Play around the time E3 takes place. And I believe this because there's been hints of a few massive announcements coming soon for highly anticipated games like The Last of Us Part 2 and Death Stranding. Anyway, we're going to be discussing later a lot more in depth what Sony may be planning, as well as a whole lot more within this video. If you have not already, consider subscribing and turn notifications on for all the latest big gaming news, and let me know down in the comment section below what games you are anticipating to see the most for E3 2019. But nonetheless, I do want to start by breaking down what we know thus far about Microsoft Showcase, which I personally feel will have the biggest surprises and announcements. So for those unaware, Microsoft Showcase will be happening Sunday, June 9th, 4 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, and Xbox head Phil Spencer has described this year's event for them as being big. Getting a little bit more specific than that, back in January, Spencer discussed on a podcast with Major Nelson their decision of the direction they wanted to take with their E3 2019 conference, saying, "There was obviously some news about E3 back in the fall, and we had a discussion internally of should we go big? Should we save some money? You know, what does that mean? We just said, no, we are going to do our own thing. We're going to go and be as big at E3 as we've ever been." I love that opportunity to be with our fans in the industry. Now I understand how many may believe a statement like that to be PR speak, but I actually do believe Microsoft is going to go all out this year, preparing consumers for the future of Xbox. The last console generation transition was a little bit of a mess for Xbox, and ultimately the Xbox One never was able to achieve the success that I'm sure Microsoft expected or wanted. This time around, I think everyone at Xbox knows they need to get this right. So a few months ago, a report emerged from French gaming news outlet Jeux Video, who leaked Microsoft's plans to discuss its next generation consoles at E3 2019. These new consoles, which are a part of Xbox's next generation plans, are reportedly codenamed Anaconda and Lockhart, under a new two-console development strategy codenamed Scarlet. Pretty much Xbox plans to launch next generation with a solid and more affordable console, with Lockhart like the current Xbox One S, while Anaconda will be a bit more pricey but with some more power like the Xbox One X. These consoles are not expected until holiday 2020 based on recent leaks, but like Sony, who recently revealed PlayStation 5 hardware details, it's very likely that Microsoft wants to get ahead by giving consumers an idea on what to expect from their next generation consoles during E3 2019. But let's get to actual games now, because it sure sounds like Microsoft plans to give some teases for their big first party games coming next generation. Back in April, during I believe the most recent Inside Xbox, Phil Spencer briefly hinted that some of the studios they purchased last year would be making some announcements at E3 2019.
Last year we announced, I remember you being up on stage, and behind you were all the brand new studios, and we've certainly brought a few more into the fold since then. What can we expect from Xbox Studios this time around?
Yeah, our new studios are going to have things to show, which is going to be awesome. Some new things that nobody has seen before, which will be fun. You know, if you pick one of the later studios, Obsidian had a really great time with Outer Worlds at Game Awards. Maybe we'll see some more of that.
So, of course, Obsidian's The Outer Worlds will likely get a new trailer and release date, which is said to be sometime this year. But what other surprises can we expect? Well, there's one major major one which was leaked about a year or two ago, and I actually received some insider information on this from a game developer, and that's Playground Games, who currently is developing Fable 4. From what's been reported, the game is a story and character focused open world action RPG, and from what I've personally heard, I know Microsoft is looking to change things up, give this franchise a fresh new start, but my understanding is that Fable 4 still is a few years away, likely not coming until 2021, but I definitely think we will see a teaser shown at E3 2019. Other than that, Windows Central senior editor Jez Corden indicated we could be hearing about Ninja Theory's next game sometime this year, which based on a trademark filing could be called Bleeding Edge, and additionally this same reporter gave some backing to a rumor that said the game would be a sci-fi co-op game with emphasis on melee combat. Some other games to keep an eye on include Age of Empires 4, which was actually confirmed all the way back in 2016 and leaked again in 2018. We should be hearing some news on that. And then there's a new Perfect Dark game which was leaked last year, apparently being developed by the Coalition and another unknown studio. Speaking of the Coalition, Gears of War 5, or I think it's just Gears 5 now, definitely will be a major focus during this E3, as it's expected to launch later this year, and Microsoft's biggest franchise, Halo, should enjoy a spotlight on the upcoming Halo Infinite, which based on various rumors sounds very different. Infinite is not expected to come until late 2020, probably being a next generation Xbox launch title, but seeing it run on these next generation consoles at E3 2019 could give us insight into the power of this next generation console hardware. But yeah, there's been some wild rumors about this next Halo, like it featuring RPG elements, battle royale, and featuring an open world. I personally really am looking forward to seeing what 343 has been up to. Finally though, we shift gears to third-party games that will be shown during Microsoft's E3 conference, and we'll start off with the biggest, and that is CD Projekt Red's Cyberpunk 2077. Last year on Microsoft's stage we got our first real trailer for the game, and this year I think everyone is anticipating a release date announcement that I suspect will be early to mid 2020, although I know some people are holding out hope for a late 2019 announcement. I believe CD Projekt Red will present us with a new trailer, maybe some gameplay, but the talk surrounding the game is going to be the release date, and everyone is expecting that to be revealed. CD Projekt Red did recently say the game looks pretty different compared to last year, so I'm extremely interested to see what they mean by that, but I also do wonder, with all the rumors surrounding the game coming to next generation consoles, could we see some gameplay of Cyberpunk 2077 running on the next gen Xbox consoles? Anyway, with CD Projekt Red, always expect the unexpected, and when I say that, I truly mean it, because there is another brand new AAA RPG coming from them in the near future. CD Projekt Red has indicated it's a new Witcher game, likely a spin-off, but we could see a secret message teasing this next game like they've done in past trailers. Many forget that the original 2013 Cyberpunk 2077 trailer actually teased The Witcher 3 Wild Hunt, so maybe we see that happen again this time around. Dying Light 2, which was shown last year on Microsoft's stage, will likely again make an appearance. We should see Star Wars Jedi Fallen Order in some capacity, and I just based that on the Xbox EA relationship, in which typically Xbox gives a spotlight to EA's big releases. The same could be said about Ubisoft, but we'll get to that specific conference and their games in a bit. Speculation and rumors have been wild with Rocksteady Games for the last number of years, with the latest leaks indicating they are making a SS live service game. And while I know a lot of people are thinking their new game could be shown at E3, I actually really don't know about that, and I say that because recent job listings make it seem like their next game could be designed specifically for next generation consoles. Could we see a tease or anything? It's possible, but right now I feel it's unlikely. Anyway, as you can see, there seems to be a lot planned for Xbox's showcase, and I did not even mention how games like Wasteland 3, Battletoads, or Ori and the Will of the Wisps will likely get shown, or how Microsoft will probably announce another purchase studio, maybe this one being Japanese, or even how Xbox's Game Pass could be finally making its way to PC, or even Microsoft's cloud gaming plans, which will directly take on Google's Stadia. But yeah, I think there are even more surprises coming, and all eyes seriously are on Microsoft this year. Finally though, we move on to Bethesda. This year things are a lot different, probably very similar to Bethesda's E3 2017 conference, in which a lot of people were unhappy with the lack of surprises. But let's go through some of the obvious games we will see, which includes Doom Eternal, probably going to be the primary game shown during this showcase. Next we have is the co-op shooter Wolfenstein Youngblood, that will definitely get a major spotlight as it releases releases in just a few months from now, specifically July 26, 2019. There's been a lot of random rumors saying Arcane Studios is working on Dishonored 3, but that's actually false, as they announced last year the franchise was resting, and that probably has happened because of Dishonored 2's poor sales. Anyway, all indication right now is that they are working on a live service game that will include some sort of multiplayer, and yes, whatever this mysterious game is, I do believe it will be announced. Another franchise I'm actually curious about is The Evil Within, and if Tango Gameworks will continue with a third entry, and again I make that statement based on the fact that The Evil Within 2 sold poorly. It would not surprise me at all to see both Tango Gameworks and Arcane Studios announcing live service games, which appears to be the direction the Bethesda executives want to take the company in. Now, to the grand Bethesda Game Studios, please have your expectations in check because it's already confirmed no Starfield or The Elder Scrolls 6 at E3 2019.
In TES 6, and before everyone asks, please be patient. It's going to be a long time. It's not something we're going to be talking about at E3, either of those games this year, and so patience. Please.
With that said, I do believe Todd Howard, probably in a pre-recorded video, will give updates to Fallout 76 and The Elder Scrolls Blades, likely discussing some of the new content coming to both those games soon. So I really have low expectations for this press conference, and I hope people aren't expecting Elder Scrolls 6 news because it's not going to happen. It'll be a lot of updates and gameplay to games already announced. Like, I'm certain The Elder Scrolls Online will get some coverage for their latest expansion, Rage 2 expansion DLC will be shown, maybe a few new game announcements from Arcane and Tango Gameworks, maybe even Machine Games gives a little tease for Wolfenstein 3, but that really is all I personally expect from Bethesda this year. Now, moving on to Ubisoft, the big game everyone is expecting, and it's quite shocking it has not been leaked yet, is Watch Dogs 3, which is rumored to be set in London this time around. I've never been too crazy for this franchise, mainly because neither the first or second game's story and open world ever was able to grab me, but I will admit I enjoy the gameplay, and just imagining the chaos we'll be able to create in London is good enough for me. So here's something that's really weird. A Ubisoft director went on Twitter and claimed he was working on a new Splinter Cell game. Everyone got excited, and then Ubisoft and this director claimed they were just joking. Kotaku's Jason Schreier, who appears to always be in the know, somewhat confirmed that this was indeed just a joke. Cruel joke. Of course, I'm still skeptical about this joke, but with the growing demand for more Splinter Cell, I have to wonder if a remaster or something is planned. This is actually worth mentioning, but Ubisoft the other day revealed they have 3 unannounced AAA games coming early next year. One is likely Watch Dogs 3, but what could be the other 2? Anyway, continuing on, the next Assassin's Creed game, which is rumored to feature Vikings in a Viking setting, is said to be launching alongside next-generation consoles in late 2020, so I'm unsure if Ubisoft will show the game at all during E3 2019. Ghost Recon Breakpoint will get some major coverage as it releases later this year. Skull and Bones will actually not be shown at E3 2019 as it's been delayed again, and that game just appears to be in major trouble. We should get another update on Beyond Good and Evil 2, but I personally feel that game is still years away and nowhere near close to a release date announcement, but I'm certain there will be some cringe because there always is, and I do have some serious interest in what secret games Ubisoft may be announcing at E3 2019 and releasing early next year. We know of likely Watch Dogs 3, but that's really it for now. So Square Enix is holding their own press conference this year, and there's really 2 big reveals that are being anticipated. The first being Final Fantasy VII Remake related, a game that's endured a rocky development to say at the very least, but earlier this month we finally got to see new footage that indicates that the project is finally moving ahead. It's finally on track. There's been a lot of speculation wondering if we'd ever actually see this game release, but at E3 we should see more gameplay and likely a release window for the first episode, which is how they plan to release this game. Next we have is the long-awaited Avengers project being developed by Crystal Dynamics, and I believe the last time we saw this game was in 2017, and it was just teased at the time. And at E3 2019, I'm not expecting a release date to be announced for this year, but I do feel it's time we actually see what this game is all about. Moving along, Electronic Arts is actually skipping the traditional press conference, likely because they don't have much to share and it also saves us of some cringe, but even so I expect their EA Play event will see updates updates to their various live service games, so probably Cataclysm gameplay for Anthem, Season 2 Apex Legends details, and of course, new Battlefield 5 content will be revealed, as well as EA's yearly sports titles. The big EA release coming this fall, Jedi Fallen Order, as I said earlier, probably will make an appearance on Microsoft's stage, but during EA Play, I expect Respawn to show and reveal a lot about this single-player adventure's gameplay. Netflix is actually set to make their first appearance ever at E3, and I just have to wonder if they plan to become the next Telltale Games. Right now, we really don't know what they will reveal or show other than their Stranger Things game, but they have said they want to adapt more of their original shows into games, so maybe we see some announcements with that. The PC gaming show really sounds like it'll be the Epic Game Store show, as they are sponsoring the event this year and plan to announce more exclusives for their store. Really, the big PC release I've been looking forward to for years is Mountain Blade 2 Bannerlord, and it was confirmed by the developer they would not be appearing at E3 2019, but they will be at Gamescom this year. Devolver Digital really just does their own bizarre thing, but lastly we're going to move on to Nintendo and Sony. So we'll start here with Nintendo, who has their own direct event set for June 11th at 12 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, and we should be learning more about releases like Luigi's Mansion 3, Animal Crossing, and Pokemon Sword and Shield, which are all set to release later this year. My most anticipated Nintendo game currently, Metroid Prime 4, likely will not make an appearance, and I base that on the news that came earlier this year that the game had been rebooted. But I do feel this is a good time for Bayonetta 3 to get a spotlight. Now lastly, we have is Sony, who I expect sometime around E3 2019 to announce and conduct a new state of play, and there are a few major announcements that I believe will be made, and this includes a new Death Stranding trailer. Hideo Kojima has been teasing this for a while now, and then I think Naughty Dog will deliver another The Last of Us Part 2 trailer with a release date that could be later this year. Rumors have been emerging for months indicating the game could be launching this fall, with one known insider claiming a Last of Us 2 update would be coming before E3. There has been other evidence hinting at a release later this year, but even Naughty Dog has confirmed the game is in its final stages of development. So an announcement of the release date soon makes a lot of sense if it is indeed coming in 2019. But there's still a lot we don't know that will be shown at E3 2019. Rumors have been wild with some of the games that could make an appearance, but like last year, a lot of these rumors are coming from nowhere, and it's difficult to judge their validity, but typically it's just nonsense. Either way, some of the other games or announcements we could see include BioShock 4, which we know is in development. Speaking of BioShock, creator Ken Levine has been working on a secret game with his new Ghost Story game studio. Maybe we finally see that. WB Montreal has been teasing a Batman Court of Owls game for a while now, and of course Microsoft could show off some of the new Halo Showtime show during their conference. Anyway, there's a lot of highly anticipated games and reveals rumored right now to be shown. Just keep expectations in check because usually many of these games will not end up being shown, but this year I do feel Microsoft wants to go all out, showing consumers what to expect next generation from them, so seeing them reveal most of their first party games in development is something that I do envision. Anyway guys and gals, what games do you wish to see at E3 2019, and what conference are you looking forward to the most? Let me know your thoughts down in the comment section below, but thank you for watching. Make sure to leave a like if you did enjoy this video or found any informative value, and make sure to follow my other social media accounts for updates on new videos. Links are always down in the description below. I'm most active on Twitter giving opinions on news that I do not always get into video form, so make sure to follow me over there. Also check out my Discord for all sorts of discussion on games. And again, thank you for joining, consider subscribing for more videos like this, and I'll see you later.